Hi, Hank. My name's Matthew, but my friends all call me Hank as well. Kudos to your parents on their obviously elite child naming skills. I just saw your video on VidCon 2010. I noticed in the programming section that there's a classroom. I think that's fantastic. This is actually relevant, which is why I'm going to reveal it. I'm a professor at Penn State University. I teach for computer science and engineering. I also happen to be a software engineer for the university that does a lot of work with the Navy. So they send me to a lot of professional conferences. In particular, the one that I attend very frequently is called OOPSLA. There's a link on the sidebar, and I don't know which side the sidebar is, to be honest. So, whichever. So if you're interested in looking into that conference, you can. In particular, the piece that is relevant here is DesignFest. I've been very active in helping to organize this very valuable track at OOPSLA, and I think that it might be helpful for VidCon as well. So here's the idea. Conferences tend to have a big mix of skill levels. You have noobs, you have intermediate people, and you have the rock stars. And what I have noticed when I go to conferences is that the noobs tend to cluster together, the intermediate people and the rock stars tend to cluster together, and it's very difficult for people who are new to break into established cliques. Now, of course, this is the first, I think it's the first VidCon. I did a quick web search, by the way, and it didn't appear that there were any in the past. So anyway, this being the first VidCon, some people might say, well, there aren't really very many cliques. But what's interesting about this particular conference is I think that there very well may be. People have communities on YouTube, and those communities seem to be well established. So one of the things that is potentially going to happen is that those communities on YouTube will probably gravitate toward one another at VidCon, which is not a bad thing. That's a good thing. It's nice to meet people in real life and all that stuff. But it can be very intimidating and very difficult for new people who, if you will, are fans of some of these big groups like the Five Awesome Girls. It can be very difficult and very intimidating for them to come up and talk to people. So DesignFest is meant explicitly to break down some of those barriers. The concept was introduced by a guy named Ralph Johnson. He's at the University of Illinois in Champaign. And Ralph's idea, it was fantastic. He said, let's get people together and put them in very small groups. It's groups of about size 4, tends to be a pretty good size. And we're going to mix the rock stars and we're going to mix the noobs into a group. So basically, one rock star, 3 other noobs or intermediate people. So once these groups are established, each group is given several problems in software engineering. And each group then picks one of those problems and solves it together. They work together. What's useful about this is, being a professor, students, when you're trying to teach somebody, as a classroom suggests, students tend to learn one of 3 major ways. There are probably others, as cognitive scientists will yell at me for not saying. But the 3 that I have noticed are people tend to be either visual, oral, or kinesthetic. Visual and oral learners are actually pretty easy to catch when you're in a teaching situation. Generally, you have PowerPoint. I hate PowerPoint. PowerPoint slides or chalkboard or something like that that you're writing. So the visual students are covered. You're lecturing. You're usually talking, saying something. So the oral students are covered. The problem is, unfortunately, the most important group, all students are important, but the students that tend to get lost are the kinesthetic students. And the reason is because they have to practice things before they get it. The irony is that these students, while very easy to lose because they're not really interested in the visual, they're not really interested in the oral, they want to play, they're very easy to lose. But the irony is, once they get it, out of the 3 groups, they tend to get it very, very strongly, to the point where they actually surpass their instructor, which, in my opinion, if there are any instructors that are watching this, that's our goal. It's not for us to show off to our students. It's for them to surpass us, to get better than us. Anyway, side note, sorry. I'll get off my soapbox now. In any case, we have these different kinds of learning styles, and DesignFest is meant to mix all of these 3 styles together. In particular, it explicitly introduces the kinesthetic aspect. So it gets the kinesthetic people in, and of course, you're conversing and you're talking back and forth within the group. So everybody is sort of getting everything. So the groups solve this problem, and in the hour or 2 hours, actually we tend to be 4 hours, but you may not want to allocate that kind of time should you choose to do this. In that time, the new people have interacted with the rock stars, and they've interacted with the intermediate people, and therefore have a nice icebreaker. So I wanted to suggest this as either a supplement to the classroom or as a component of the classroom. I did notice in the description of the classroom that there are lectures, and they're great. They work fantastically well. We do it all the time in academia, although I personally think they're overvalued. I think the kinesthetic aspect is significantly more important. So the lectures are covered. It might be nice to have some interactive type of things with some of the rock stars there being mixed in with individual groups. Anyway, I wanted to make that suggestion. Unfortunately, the term DesignFest is copyrighted. I don't know why. It's really stupid. So, in any case, you might have to find some other name, like VidFest or, Festival or something like that. Oh, God. By the way, if you ever get a cat, don't name it Cassius. It opens it up to terrible puns like Catsius. Jake. So, I just wanted to present this. If you have any questions, like I said, I have organized DesignFest for many years at Uppsala. If you have any questions at all, please feel free to contact me. I'll put my email address in this video, I hope, if I can figure out this software. By the way, Adobe Elements Premiere sucks. All it does is crash. Sorry for the long video. Thanks for watching. Bye.